Hello students, today let me solve the illustration number 10 on preparation of the cost sheet. So please go through the problems, and before you are going to solve this kind of a problem, ensure yourself be ready with the blank format of the cost sheet. So this is the blank format of the cost sheet, illustration number 10, Rajmata Industries cost sheet for the year ending as on 31st December 2018. Direct materials, opening stock of raw materials, add purchases, closing stock of raw materials, materials consumed, direct wages and direct expenses, that gives us the prime cost. And to that we are going to add the factory overhead. So here I have left sufficient space to write the items which will fall under the category of the factory overhead, and at the end it will be works cost. And below this works cost you will find another overhead, that is so called as the administration overhead, cost of production, add selling and distribution overhead. I left some sufficient space to write the items, and at the end it is cost of sales, profit as well as the sales. So this is the blank format that I have prepared so as to solve the problems on preparation of the cost sheet. Now let us go through the items one by one. The first item is that opening stock of raw materials rupees 30,000. So in our format, under the direct wages only it will come. Under direct wages it is opening stock of raw materials amounted to rupees 30,000. I will write the amount in the inner column only. Next, go through the next item. Purchase of raw materials 92,000. So it also comes under the add purchases. That is why here I will write purchase of raw materials. Purchase of raw materials. And the amount is 92,000. That also I will write under the inner column only. Next, go through the next item. Closing stock of raw materials 22,000. So below here only closing stock of raw materials it is 22,000. So that I will put under the into brackets so that it can be deducted so easily. Next, go through the item carriage inward 6,000. It means that the transportation expenses or the loading and unloading charges so as to bring the materials, it will also fall under the purchases only. That is why below this purchase of raw material I will write carriage inward. Carriage inward amounted to rupees 6,000. Amounted to rupees 6,000. Next item is wages direct, wages indirect. So when direct they have specifically mentioned, we can consider it as the direct wages. When they have stated as indirect in the sense, we can put under the factory overhead. That is why here it is our direct wages amount. We can write the amount of direct wages, that is amounted to rupees 81,000. I can write 81,000 here, or we can directly write in the outer column itself, not an issue, because no other items are going to fall under the category of the direct wages. That is why you can write under the outer column only. And below that direct wages, one more item, that is wages indirect, that is 9,000. So it is going to be shown under the factory overhead. That is why here I will show wages indirect. Wages indirect. What is the amount? It is 9,000 only. I will put the amount under the inner column because there are some other items may be there which will fall under the factory overhead. Next, go through the next item, other direct charges. So this is also, name itself suggests that direct charges. It means direct expenses only. That is why under the direct expenses I will write, here it is the head, I will write 12,000 directly, and no items will fall. That is why same amount I can put under the outer column also. Now go through the next item after 12,000, that is rent and rates, factory and office. So they have clearly mentioned some rates and rent and rates are related to the factory, and some rent and rates are related to the administration overhead. We can show both items separately. One can be shown under the factory overhead, another under the administration overhead. So that is why under the factory overhead, what I will show here, rent and rates, that is factory, amounted to rupees 6,000. And one more item is rent and rates under the office, that is administration overhead, rent and rates into bracket office, amounted to rupees 1,000. Okay, both the items are over. Now let us go through indirect consumption of materials. So if there is a direct consumption, we can show under the direct materials only, but when they are specifically saying that it is indirect consumption of the materials, those can be assigned to the factory overhead. That is why under the head factory overhead I will write indirect consumption of materials. Here under the factory overhead only I will write indirect consumption of materials. What is the amount? It is amounted to rupees 800. So here I will write in the inner column amounted to rupees 800 only. Go through the next item, that is so called as depreciation on plant and machinery, and below depreciation on office furniture. So there are two different types of depreciation. One is going to be charged on plant and machinery. It means that it is charged on the factory plant. That is why this depreciation can be shown under the head factory overhead. And one is clearly mentioned office furniture. This depreciation can be shown under the head administration overhead. That is why under the factory overhead I will show depreciation on plant and machinery. Depreciation on plant and machinery, that is amounted to rupees 2,100. And one more depreciation I am supposed to show under the administration overhead. Depreciation on office furniture, amounted to rupees 400. Now let us go through the next item. Say salary office, salary salesman. Office in the sense this kind of salary is going to be shown under the administration overhead, and salary salesman can be shown under the selling and distribution overhead. That is why under the administration overhead I will show salary, that is office 2,900, and one more salary, that is so called as salesman salary, amounted to rupees 3,000. Okay, both the items are over. Next go through the next item. What is the next item? Other factory expenses 6400. The specifically mentioned it is factory expenses. That is why I will show under the factory overhead only. So here other factory expenses. Other factory expenses. Other factory expenses amounted to rupees 6400. 6400. Next, go through the next item. After 6400, managerial remuneration 15,000. So speaking about this 15,000, in a paragraph they have specifically mentioned that the manager has the overall charge of a company. It means that whatever the 15,000 to be paid to the manager, it is the remuneration of the company itself, and that is going to be allocated like this, that 15,000 is going to be allocated in such a manner that his remuneration is to be allotted at rupees 6,000 to the factory, 2,500 to the office, 6,500 to the selling operations. Clearly mentioned, 6,000 should be shown as a managerial remuneration under the factory overhead, 2,500 under the administration overhead, 6,500 under the selling and distribution overhead. That is why under the factory overhead I will write the managerial remuneration. Here I will write managerial remuneration. $6,000. And one more item under the administration overhead, that is managerial remuneration. $2,500. And one more under the selling and distribution overhead, managerial remuneration, that is amounted to rupees 6,500. Now let us go through the next item below the managerial remuneration. The next item is other office expenses. It means that is nothing but office in the sense administration expenses only, 1100. So other, here I will show other office expenses. It is amounted to rupees 1,100 only. Go through the next item below the 1100, bad debts written off. It means that the company is unable to recover this much of an amount from the debtors from whom the goods have been sold. It is unable for a company to collect this much of an amount. That is why they have become bad debts. It means that they are associated to the selling and distribution overhead only. That is why under the selling and distribution overhead I will show bad debts written off. Here I will write bad debts written off amounted to rupees 1,600. 1,600. Next, go through the next item, advertisement expenses. As we all know that these are the expenses which are going to made to motivate the sales. That is why 2,400 advertising expenses. Advertisement expenses, that is amounted to rupees 2,400. Next, go through the next item, carriage and freight outward. It means that they are nothing but the some transportation expenses made so as to sell the products. That is nothing but a carriage and freight outward. That is why I will show under the selling and distribution overhead, carriage and freight outward amounted to rupees 1200. Next, go through the next item, sales. As well know that this can be shown at the end of the statement itself, amounted to rupees 3 lakhs. Amount of sales which have been made by the company is 3 lakhs. I will show at the end of the statement itself. Next, go through the next item, advance income tax paid. So this is a not going to be appear under the cost sheet because it is a purely financial item. That is why it will not be accounted under the cost sheet. Leave it. Traveling expenses of a salesman. So traveling expenses in the sense, so as to motivate the sales only. That is why I will show under the selling and distribution overhead. So here I will show traveling expenses of salesman, that is amounted to rupees 2100. Now all the items which have been given are over. The paragraph is also over. Now you need to do the work of simple add and less work. Take a calculator and do the subtotal of the inner column. So here 30,000 plus 92,000 plus 6,000, that gives us 1,28,000. 1,28,000. From that we are going to deduct 22,000. It gives us 1,06,000. 1,06,000. Now add 81,000 and 12,000 to the 1,06,000. It gives us 1,99,000. That is nothing but a prime cost. Now take the inner column total of the factory overhead: 9,000, 6,000, 800, 2,100, 6,400 and 6,000. It gives us 30,300. So here I will write 30,300 and add 30,300 plus 1,99,000. It gives us works cost amounted to rupees 2,29,300. Next, take the inner column total of administration overhead: 1,400, 2,900, 2,500 and 1,100. So the inner column total will be 7,900, and this 7,900 should be added to the 2,29,300. We will get the cost of production amounted to rupees 2,37,200. that is nothing but a cost of production. Next, go to the inner column total of selling and distribution overhead: 3,000, 6,500, 1,600, 2,400, 1,200 and 2,100. It gives us 16,800. 16,800 should be added to the 2,37,200. Now the cost of sales amounted to rupees 2,54,000 only, and this 2,54,000 should be deducted from the sales. We will get the profit amounted to rupees 46,000. So here I will write profit amounted to rupees 46,000. So this is how we are going to solve the problems on preparation of the cost sheet. Please go through the problem. With this I am going to conclude my discussion. Thank you.